This is KUGAN CASSIUS for iFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast Win. Jeddah here, 2 days away from the big fight between Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua. I'm joined by, from 258 Management, cool. That's you, innit? Cool. David Ganza, aka King, KD, what other A-list names you have?
The bag carrier this week.
All right, let's go there straight away. And also head of boxing for 258 management. Will Harvey. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thanks, Coog. How are you?
All good, mate. All good. Have you still got the tattoo?
I do still have the
tattoo.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
That's all right.
Should we let the you've actually put it on. You've already put it on the camera once before. Should we put it on for the viewers and see
I
what
think we'll do that at the end. You know, when people like a bit of anticipation around it.
Off again, but yeah, it's fine.
Okay, huge week. How's, first of all, David, how's the camp been in general? You guys have been out here for a little while. The heat obviously plays a big factor into everything. That's all people talk about here, coming from the UK. But how's camp been in general?
Yeah, camp's been great. We flew out here 4.5 weeks ago. So it was a total of 5 weeks out here. He just wanted to get settled, less distractions out here, and just focus on what was needed to be done. So we came out here, we flew out like 4 sparring partners. One of them had to shoot back home for an emergency, so we had to get another one out here. So it's just been operating away from home, but making this place home. So it's been good.
You want to add to that, Will?
Not really, to be honest. A lot of my roles and responsibilities are actually outside of AJ, so I'm not involved directly in the management of his camp. So I came out here with Ben on. We landed Tuesday morning. We were going to come out a few days early, but it got pushed back for various reasons. But so I've only been here for a few days, and the guys have been out here for a few weeks. But to second what KD's done, from what I've seen, obviously I'm very close on the inside of what's going on. It seems like it's been run very, very smoothly. And actually, we got to shout out Henry Baldwin in this instance, because he came out here even longer ago to set up the camp in the British Embassy. And the facilities that we've got here, the gym that we've got, that they've used for the last 5 weeks, is like seriously slick, professional. Dealing with the team that are on the ground here has been really, really straightforward. So from an organisation and a management perspective, the setup of the camp has been a massive success, I think. We've done it once already when we were here a few years ago, but I think this is probably, and we actually did it in America as well for the fight in New York. So we've done it a few times now, but I think the setup for this camp, since AJ's been out, he's gone from Loughborough, and since he's been out in Saudi, has been the best thing that we've done to date, I think. So in terms of creating an environment for him to be able to prepare, I think it's been possibly the best one that we've done. So all so far so good, I think.
Okay, let's start with talking about 258 affiliated fighters, and obviously we'll start with Ben Whittaker, who's laying there. Yeah, he's here, by the way. He's just chilling out over there. But yeah, what a huge opportunity for Ben this weekend. He's obviously been kind of thrown in at the deep end on kind of big platforms anyway, but to come here, to get him on this card, especially on the undercard of a Joshua world title fight, it is massive.
It is, and I was saying to Umar off camera, like, I think coming off the back of the debut, for me, and I know that we're biased, but the performance on the debut, I think, was possibly one of the most spectacular that I've seen, just in terms of an entertainment perspective, against a fighter that was actually, a very respectable level of opposition to take for a debut. So the thought in our camp was, we need to try and keep this momentum building as quickly as possible. We were originally supposed to have Suleiman Sissoko on the card in our slot, but he unfortunately got injured, and we're going to have to reschedule his fight for the end of the year. But when we sat down as a team after the debut, we thought, when can we get you out again? Because it was such a spectacular performance on the debut. We want to keep the momentum going as much as possible. So we looked at the Saudi card and the slot that we had on there and thought, now that it's been on Sky and they've got the rights, why can we not try and get Ben on the show? Yes, he's a boxer fighter. Yes, it's a matchroom and it's a skills challenge card. But if we can try and work our magic and have the right conversations with both sides...
Basically, the advantages of being with 258 is we will make things happen and we will do what we can say. So I think we always had a plan to get Fraser and Ben on the show. It was just the politics of the broadcaster when it became clear.
Politics of the promoters as well, which is never easy.
Yeah, I won't get into any of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just not knowing where it was going to be broadcasted, but when it was announced that it was on Sky, the team said, yeah, let's go. We spoke to Ben, spoke to Fraser. It wasn't possible to get Fraser on, but he's out on the 3rd of September, which is shortly after this. But it just made sense. Ben wants momentum. He doesn't want to just be waiting around. He's been itching since the Olympics. The Olympics was this time last year. So he took his time to turn professional. He took his time picking his management company, his promotional company, and now it's go time. So we'll get him out 3 weeks after this. Then we'll be looking at a next date, probably October, end of October?
Yeah, there's a show at the end of October on Boxer, which we'll look to get him out on. And then in an ideal world, all being well, I think he gets out one more time. So that means between, the end of July and the end, August to the end of the year, he should box 4 times, So
look, I'm going to put it out there. So his debut was in Bournemouth, something different. He stole the show. He's now come to Saudi Arabia. You've heard how he's talking about the rest of the card, and once we get him out again, I would like to see him fight in the States by the end of the year. It's not impossible with the teams that he's with and the link-ups that happen in America. I know that we do want to box him around the country and blah, 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 but I feel like with this special talent that Ben is, the world needs to see it. AJ said the other day that he can't be denied, so everyone who's working with Ben's name, please don't deny us these opportunities to put him on the biggest shows, give him the biggest audience, and he's going to put on performances that people want to see.
And in the States, the market in the US will love Ben. Like, I think he's quite a Marmite character in the UK with the British fans, but the Americans love, like you saw it with Naz, the Americans love the kind of flash and the showboating elements. So I think, America is going to be a really, really big market for him. And so, the opportunity to fight there, we will be jumping at it as soon as we can make it happen.
Like as boxing fans, every Olympic cycle we look, don't we, even before the Olympics, and we kind of say who's potentially could be that kind of next breakout star. And to be honest with you, and it's no disrespect to anyone that's kind of come since 2012, but I think with Anthony Joshua, it was almost a given, like kind of just the weight division first of all that he was in, and just kind of just everything, all the boxes were ticks. But I think every cycle we kind of look at, and we look at everyone, but this cycle that's just finished last year, I think the one that we look at with those kind of boxes ticked, if you like, on every aspect, is Ben Whittaker.
100%, I completely agree. I think when you look at that, like you say, no disrespect to anybody else, but you look at the crop that's come since, and like, I don't know, everyone that's in our stable, I have to honestly say I believe has the potential to be a superstar, and certainly be a world champion. But when you're looking at the sort of fighter that will break out of the boxing market and into the casual fans, like, they have to have that little bit of extra stardust. And I think the way that Ben fights, the way that he carries himself, he ticks a lot of those boxes. And certainly, like, so we have a good relationship with the guys at the EIS. We spent a lot of time in Sheffield, and I know that KD used to spent many, many, many years up there. And so Ben has always been a guy that they've kind of pigeonholed as someone that's got all of the ingredients that you need to really transcend into a mass market. So he's been a fan of his and had him on our radar for a long time. Long before Tokyo and long before he medalled and all of that.
But I will say that last crop of Olympians that came out, there was
We're
a
literally
lot
kissing his ass and
Nah,
he's sat like just over there. It's
No.
so weird.
Do you know what? I'm trying to shout out some of the other guys there, because they were.
Boatsi, superstar.
No, I'm talking about the last cycle. The last cycle,
fine.
there was some good talent out there. Like, we're not gonna forget Fraser, who's also with us. We're not gonna forget Pat McCormack, Peter McGrail. Like, these guys, then they're special. I've seen them working in the amateur thing. But what Ben does is Ben ticks boxes in boxing that I won't say are bigger than boxing, but the plan is to take it to another level with him.
But if we can, sorry if we're jumping around a little bit, but also I have to say, I strongly believe that Fraser has got the potential to be a massive, massive pay-per-view star as well, because Fraser is, he's a little bit older, but he's very relatable. The average guy on the street can really relate to Fraser, and he's somebody that I think a lot of in a very similar way actually to Ricky Hatton, you know, like I think that the normal man on the street will really get behind Fraser because he's the sort of guy that you could go up to and you could go for a pint with, and you'd probably be very good mates with him. So he's a heavyweight, he's a knockout artist, and I think that the way that he carries himself, people will build a really loyal sense of following behind him. So particularly in the UK market, whereas Ben, maybe we look at UK and US, Fraser, particularly in the UK market, I think can be a massive, massive pay-per-view star in the way that Ricky was, you know, however many years ago. So I think Fraser's got, you know, they've all got huge potential, to be honest.
Okay, right, let's address some other situations that have occurred involving former or current 258 affiliated fighters. What is the situation, whoever can answer this, I'm assuming Will's going to answer this, regarding Lawrence Okolie currently?
Well, so the situation regarding Lawrence is that he's no longer with us. You know, he came to us the start of the year and said that. But I think fundamentally, I think at some point in a fighter's career, when they get to a certain stage of profile and a certain stage of earning, there's often an ambition for them to kind of bring stuff in-house and kind of create their own team around them, often with the guys that they've sort of been friends with from very early on. So Lawrence came to us at the start of the year and said that that's what he wanted to do, that was his ambition, and he wanted to kind of bring it in-house with some of the guys that he's got around him now and has had around him since they were, you know, at school together, which is fine, you know, like it happens. It's not the first time it's happened in boxing. It won't be the last time it's happened in boxing. And so he goes with you know, our much respect from us. There's no love lost. Like, we always are going to support Lawrence. I'm still personally very fond of him. I know KD is personally very fond of him. And it's just the way that it went. And when a fighter comes to you and says that that's what they want to do, you've got to respect that decision. You know, who are we to stand in the way of him helping, you know, create his own team and help kind of give opportunities to the guys that have been with him long before I was certainly on the scene. And even, I know KD's known him for about 10 years, but even before KD knew him, these guys have been with him from the very start. So I don't think we are, you know, in a position to start blocking that, you know. So
yeah, to answer your question, Lawrence is now self-managed and doing his own thing, and we wish him the best of luck. I'll always see him as another Mr. 258 from turning pro to world champion, and we respect what he's done in the sport and really hope to see him continue and dominate and do everything that he did whilst under our guidance. And
and mark my words, like I said, he's not with us anymore, and he's sorting some stuff out in his career at the moment, but I believe Lawrence Okolie is still a top draw, elite level fighter. I think he can be a unified champion at cruiserweight. I think he can go up to heavyweight and do the exact same thing. I think he can be a massive fighter in the UK. So like, the guy is, you know, I believe he's still very much the best cruiserweight in the world, and I think there's a lot of potential. He gets a lot of stick sometimes, Lawrence, with certain performances, but I think when he gets his head down and commits himself, like, the guy is incredibly hard to beat, and he's got brutal power, and I think he could be a real knockout artist. So, you know, we still think Lawrence is you know, a top draw fighter that's probably the best cruiserweight in the world. That would never change.
I know this isn't your issue, but what you're talking about also seemed to kind of coincide with recent comments with Eddie Hearn regarding his situation promotionally with Lawrence Okolie. But is any of this kind of connected with each other?
I can't. I'll answer this for us. I don't think we're in a position to discuss that. That's a fighter and a promoter's affairs. We were the management, which was the bridge between that. And now they are in talks amongst themselves about what they're going to do. So I hope they can resolve whatever 100%. Issues they're going through, and we wish them the best of luck.
We've not really been involved in those conversations anyway. So the truth of the matter is we don't know what's going on, because it's you know, stuff was bubbling up around the time that he left, but you know, we haven't been involved, so we don't really know. But all I know is that I really hope that it's resolved as soon as possible, and he's back out in the ring doing what he does best, because he deserves that at the very least.
Okay, let's get to the fun stuff.
Let's go.
We can all kind of involve the whole conversation involving Fury-Chisora. So, for a little recap, and if you don't know about this recap, then you must have been on a different planet over the last sort of few weeks.
I'm trying to get you.
No.
All right, let's talk about it all in the same breath. So, over the last few weeks, this talk of a trilogy fight happening at some point this year, end of the year, whatever, between Fury-Chisora and Tyson Fury. I mean, I'm looking at it thinking to myself, I don't really kind of see it happening, but then I see kind of, Fury on social media, which is unnormal, shall we say, and we see kind of retaliations, and we spoke about it all this week. Some of the stories have kind of taken over the certain parts of the week. We know kind of there's been tongue-in-cheek social media posts aimed at yourself from Tyson Fury. I know you're the sort of person that it will be water off a duck's back, or has it been, or have you taken it personally?
Do you know what? My mum took it personally. I was cool. I laughed it off. I just saw it and it was carry on with work. But my mum sent me a WhatsApp and she was all like, "Now let me not get my mum involved like that." But yeah, she wasn't happy, and but I saw the light in it. If you know Tyson, you can understand that you don't know what you're gonna get from him. You don't know how he's gonna take it and what he's gonna do. So I didn't really react to it. But it is what it is. He asked me on social to give him a shout. I got his phone number, FaceTimed him, and we spoke about the potential fight with him and Fury-Chisora, which I'll put out there that I don't think it's not a possibility. I know he said he's retired, but it's still something that we can see.
Yeah, I think we kind of, people that kind of have been around boxing, not even in the industry, but kind of Tyson Fury kind of does some stuff for effect sometimes. The fact that we're even talking about it means that it's working to a certain degree. But in terms of the fight, which is what actually matters, so you're saying that there's genuine legs in it. We saw kind of Fury put another post out saying that, to Chisora, and also tagged in Freddie Cunningham, saying that, you guys had lost out on $2 million. Spoke to Anthony Joshua about this actually only yesterday, and he said, look, well, show us the money then. That was the attitude from Anthony Joshua. But you're saying that there is a possibility that this could materialise further.
Yeah, so just to say how it is, I guess nowadays these fighters seem to believe that they can just shout things out on social media and get things done that way. And had a conversation with Tyson. I was meant to be linked in on an email with his people to discuss it. He had a number in his head that he wanted to pay Derek, and obviously through working with AJ and working on these stadium shows and stuff, we kind of know the numbers. Derek's not willing to just be told a number and come dance for it, so we wanted to get into a negotiation. It's not just come and fight for this amount, because if you tell Derek that, he had it with the Dillian Whyte fight. That's kind of what happens, and in my opinion, that fight could have been a lot bigger than it was. I know it was a sold-out venue. You'd expect that. I'm still not too sure on the exact pay-per-view numbers, but for the fans, the build-up could have been a lot more juicy. You know that yourself. Dylan involved, Dean involved, Big John, Tyson. Like it could have been something real special, but we saw some silence. And look, we're as boxing fans as well. You want to see that type of stuff. So to just give us a call and tell us, Derek, come dance for this figure, it's not enough. And we want to talk about things. We want to get some things right. We want to build up a fight properly. And it just seemed as though it's my way or the highway. And look, if there was no money on the table, there's no money lost. So him still out there saying, "Oh, you've lost your fighter X amount," and blah blah blah. It's like we never saw it. We waited for an email, waited for a contract. We didn't see it. And look, Derek's been paid very well out of boxing. His investments outside of boxing do him some justice. So it's not like anyone's crying over milk that was never in a cup to get spilt. So it's Tyson Fury being Tyson Fury. I personally, let me just put this out there, I personally welcomed it. I thought, fuck it, let's get Derek and him in the ring, let Derek chin him, and it can be a 258 night with Chisora and AJ for all the belts. Can you imagine it? I saw Tyson Fury on that. I saw Mike Tyson on his podcast talking about when there gets to a stage where you start prize fighting and getting people paid. That would have been great for me. I probably would have tried to put that in Africa somewhere, get Chisora versus Joshua on, all the belts, 258 night, and everyone's a winner.
Okay, quite a lot to happen for that to materialise, just starting with this Saturday. But no, but it's interesting because when I first kind of heard the talk of this, I was thinking to myself, is it just like, just talk? But then obviously as it was developing, it was just, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but one thing that's interesting when you're talking about is it all kind of talk or smoke, Fury only ever seems to pipe up about this kind of stuff when AJ's fighting. Like, I know he goes back and forth and he's very erratic with the sort of stuff that he says, but whenever AJ is fighting, he is always spouting out kind of stuff that appears to be kind of like clickbaity, and I don't know why he does it. I'm not sure if he's just trying to take the shine off of AJ or he's kind of insecure about what he's doing, but it's just interesting that as soon as AJ's fighting, Fury's always got something to say about something that's going on around him or our company or anything that involves.
Do you really see anything wrong in that?
Let me hit this up. Do you know what? I'm going to come to Fury's defence on this. I think it was over a year ago. He put out like his retirement plan, and he mentioned, I'll smash Deontay Wilder, then I'll smash Dylan, then I'll smash Derek, and then I want to fight AJ. Is what he said.
Out Derek now?
So he's going according to his plan. So I've got no problem with putting on that fight and working with them to fulfill his wish list. He put it out there, so I don't think anyone should be too surprised. I also think there's also an element of what Mike Tyson was saying, where Tyson believes that he's like helping out another person in boxing. This is where I think that's the angle that he's coming from, and why he's so adamant on this is what I'll pay you, because he believes that I'm giving you an opportunity. So yeah, he probably is, because he's got the belt at the moment and that's just how it is. But I do think he's just running through his tick list, seeing out his career how he's envisioned it, and I personally don't think there's nothing wrong with it. I want to get them two to dance in the ring, and then.
So you don't believe he's retired?
If he,
because I honestly don't know.
Do you know what we've seen more retirements than defences out of that guy. So
exactly.
I don't know what to say, but I do believe that he does what he wants, and we'll just have to see.
Okay, well listen, I'm sure this is to be continued, but job in hand this week for you guys. Obviously Ben Whittaker and then Anthony Joshua this week. So I think a lot more in boxing will become clear. What happened to your light, mate? That was Umar's light, by the way, just so people know. I think a lot in boxing will be clearer in general after the weekend anyway, so maybe we can kind of pick up certain conversations after Saturday night. Yeah? Right, guys, thank you very much. Go on.
Just need to mention Fraser Clark is fighting September 3rd in Liverpool.
He already did that.
Are we already talking about Fraser?
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God.
Mentioned that. He mentioned that on minute 30.
I switch off sometime when KD's speaking.
He did.
Oh, we got Shannon Ryan as well.
Shannon, September 10th, yeah.
She's at the O2 on the all-female card. Let's tune into that, get behind that as well.
Okay. We'll mention that at the start, by the way.
Wow.
No, he didn't really. He didn't really. Okay, David Ganza, a.k.a. KD, a.k.a. King, a.k.a. Gucci Bag Carrier. How about that? Yeah? Gucci Bag Carrier.
Money Bag Carrier.
Money Bag Carrier. Will Harvey, thank you very much for talking to Eiffel TV. Just Will Harvey, yeah. Listen, we'll catch up obviously after Saturday night, and let's see what happens, and let's hope it's a good night.
Thanks, KUGAN.
Thank you, Coog.
Appreciate it.
My dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more
There's
times.
5 blokes outside my front door. Can you come and help
One
me?
hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.
Welcome, Team Everlast, to the Team Everlast Fitness app. Download the Everlast Fitness app and find your greatness within.